Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. As you can see, I am accompanied by a lot of special friends out here. It's a lot of these giant green beetles that y'all probably been seeing. You're gonna hear them. They might come up a little close, but it's fitting because this is gonna be part 2 of the nature video, the meditation and nature video. And part 1 was pretty much introduction, talking about the benefits, pretty much hitting the whole topic. So part 2 is really just going to be me giving more information about some of the misconceptions, some of the fear-based social conditionings that they program into our minds in order for us to not want to be in the most optimal place we need to be, which is here in nature. All right, so what I want to start talking about first is what I was talking about a little bit in the previous video before, talking about the divine energy known as the sun. So if you look, if you see how the sun is perceived, we have things in this society called sunblock, we have things called sunglasses, we have things called tints on our cars, we have glass on our cars, glass in our houses, which all these serves as some sort of barrier to prevent the sun from being able to do what it is that it naturally will do, which is, like I said in the previous video, provide energy, provide vitamins, provide sustenance to your overall well-being. And in this society, we have things like this, like lotions, like a bunch of different unnatural man-made products, which I'm gonna start with, what am I gonna start with? I'm going to start with the eyes, the sunglasses. So sunglasses, if you wear sunglasses, it's probably because you want to look cool or whatever. You want to go to the beach, look nice. But there is a very important concept in ancient wisdom called sun gazing. Sun gazing is a very old practice. It's a very ancient practice where you look directly at the sun for extended periods of time. People do it for hours, people do it for 10 minutes, people do it for 30 minutes. I do it, but the reasoning why I do it, I'm going to talk about afterwards in a second, because first, I know people are thinking like, won't you go blind if you look at the sun? And if you think about it, that right there is one of the clearest straight up lies that people say in order to prevent you from your evolution. Because people say you look at the sun, you go blind, right? I know I'm not the only one that's heard that phrase before, but I tell you all from personal experience that that is not true. I sun gaze in order to receive, sorry about that, one of them beetles ran right into the phone. But I sun gaze to receive divine energy, to receive the vitamins, to receive, vitamin D. Whenever you I don't want to get too far into sun gazing, but there are some deeper reasonings as to why I sun gaze as well. It heightens my intuition even more than when I would say I would meditate. I've had some profound, very wise thoughts to emanate from within while I was looking directly at the sun. Interestingly enough, if you would believe me or not, one of them is this whole business that I do, Ensured Evolution. The thought to begin doing this and the name for it came to me right when I was in a sun gazing session. So I say all this to say sunglasses is something that prevents you from receiving energy into your body in a very optimal way, which is to look directly at the sun. I know it might sound weird, might sound far-fetched, but sunglasses, the sun is good for you. So in any way that you try and block it off with sunscreen, be your sunglasses, be your being inside, being underneath the shade all day long, running away from the sun or whatever, that's actually doing more harm than good. As you know, black people suffer from vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency comes from what? Vitamin D, the main source of vitamin D is the sun. So black people, through the social conditionings of this program that we live in, are now afraid of the sun, think the sun is a bad thing. So they come inside, they stay inside. They say stay away from the sun too much. You get a heat stroke, you might die. You look at the sun, you're gonna go blind, you're gonna die. If you sit out in the sun too long, you're gonna overheat, you're gonna die. But especially for us melanated people, especially for us who are not even native to this climate, we are native to a climate that is much hotter than this, a much more with much more direct access to the sun, much less access to things like snow, things like hail, sleet, all of that. We're our native land, as we all know. I don't need to say it, but it's Africa. Africa is one of the hottest places, period. So that should let you know that we are people who are made for the sun. I don't want to get too far into specifics, but I only hit sun gazing very briefly. I could talk about it for a lot more time, but that's not specifically the topic of this video. What I'm doing right now is clearing up misconceptions. Misconception number one is if you look at the sun, you're gonna go blind. If you look at the sun, you're gonna become more visible. You're gonna be able to actually see more, ironically. It's the exact opposite. When I say see, I'm talking about spiritually. Try it for yourself, look it up, see the benefits. When you look it up, you're gonna see people lying about it, all right? Do not try it for yourself. You look it up, do the research, and then try it for yourself and see if you go blind. I do it very often. Here I am, seeing clear as day. All right. Number two, things like sunblock. I don't need to give a history lesson, but our people, like I just said, are made to be in the sun. The white race used that benefit, used that factor in order to enslave us, put us in the sun, working day in, day out, hardcore sun all day long. Hardly no water, hardly no breaks. And we would still get up when it was time to go into the shacks and chill out for the rest of the day. We'd be straight. We'd be tired, but we'd be alive. We didn't have no skin cancer. We didn't die off of, well, I mean, some people did because, you know, lack of water, the inhumane treatment, but it wasn't the sun. All right. So I'm using all these points to say, don't be afraid of the sun. Don't be afraid to come outside. Middle of the day right now, it's about 1:30, probably the hottest time of the day. I'm shooting a video right now to make that point. I want to receive the divine energy. I want to receive the vitamin D. I want to receive that life force, you know, because the sun is one of the main sources of life that gives life to all things. It's a divine source of light that we should all respect and all should, you know, commune with, you know. So I don't want to get too far into that, but I will say this: if you are black like me, or, you know, black period, you are much more capable to tolerate the profound, you know, impact that the sun offers, because heat is heat. You know, when it's hot, it's hot, but we are able to handle it. We're made for it. You know, we're divine beings. We're beings who are natural. We're beings who are meant to absorb this divine energy and utilize it throughout our day, you know. So not all people are like that. That's the reason why sunblock and all of that is even a thing, because other races can't take it. Other races, you know, if they sit out in the sun too long, they get sunburned, they get, you know, their skin cancers. If they look at the sun too long, they might get eye damage. But that does not apply to us, all right, as black people. It's a whole different story, all right? We are made for the sun. The sun is beneficial. The sun is not anything to be afraid of when it comes to me and you. Don't mimic these people, all right? Don't run away from the sun. Don't run away from nature, all right? Let's see. I think I made my point on the sun. Want to make sure I don't forget nothing too much. Oh yeah, now we're going to go to another very important concept. I talked about this a little bit in the last video, the insects. Insects, if you really think about it, it's very plain and simple. We are a lot stronger than them. We have a lot more power than them. When you interact with the insect, you will see that they fear you more than you should fear them. So whenever you look up and you see yourself in a situation where you're in front of a massive swarm of bees, I know y'all can see this, you have to realize that one, we're all one being. I don't want to get too far into that, but two, they are not to be, feared. Fear is irrational, it is a unnecessary, and it is a counterproductive and a hindering mentality in many different ways. If you don't like to be outside because it's too many bugs for you, that's a very big hindrance, because these bugs are not, I don't even like to call them bugs, these insects are not your enemies at all whatsoever. If anything, they're beneficial for you. And I don't want to get too far into my dissertation about the insects. I talked about this in the last video, but the fear that you have in your minds right now when it comes to any insects, the spiders, to all of them, is unnecessary. I'll be the one to tell you it is a concept that has either been, placed into your mind and fed more through the media, or it is a result of the fight or flight concept, which kicks in automatically if you don't have an understanding of what it is that you're dealing with in the present time. I'm here to give you the understanding that these insects will not kill you. All right. None of these, as you can see, none of these beetles out here, it's a lot of them. None of them have attacked me. None of them have, swarmed up to attack me. That's because they have, they have work to do. They have a life to live. They have things to do. They have things to accomplish. Just like us, They're just a different species. They're intelligent, just like us. They have things to do. Bees are the same way. Wasps are the same way. Ants are the same way. So, don't let them stop you from coming outside and doing what you have to do in order for you to develop spiritually and for you to connect with everything. All right? Let's see if I can think of any other misconceptions off the top of my head. I hope this phone does not overheat. I think the most important thing is the sun, because a lot of people are afraid of the sun. A lot of people are afraid of these insects. A lot of people are afraid of going blind. A lot of people are afraid of getting cancer being in the sun. A lot of people can't there it is. Most people can't really tolerate the sun, and the reason why has to do with your diet. This I can't talk about too much. I had just recently learned this myself, but I will say that an unnatural diet, in some certain instances, it makes you not want to be in the sun. I don't know how to explain it to certain depths, but yeah, I don't really want to hit on that too much, to be honest with you, because I can't really explain it the way I normally would. But whenever you eat a full hot meal, it just makes you want to just sit down in the sun, cool off, and regain energy, because you used a lot of your energy that you could have used to, develop spiritually, but your body uses that energy in order to try and process that which has been placed into it now. So as a result of that, you eat your full meal, you find it more often than not, you don't want to be out in the sun. You think it's too hot for you. But what I will say is there are chemicals placed in these foods that make you prone to want to be indoors, right? I don't want to go too far into that. You can do the research yourself, but there is an agenda also to keep you away from the sun, because in the sun there's more than just energy, it's divinity in it. We are divine, so we can access divinity from around us and within us in order to become heightened spiritually and powerful. In terms of our power, they do not want that. So I'm here to tell you, come outside, meditate outside, rise into the divine being that you are. All right? Thanks again. My name is Dalen. I'm going to catch you on the next video.